Welcome, everybody, to the special City Council work session for March 2nd, 2026. Would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Callio,
Here.
Lyon,
Here.
Dora,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. We got a treat tonight. We have our presentation by our future prep students who've been working diligently for the city to come up with some ideas for us. Would you guys like to, Derek's not here, is he? No, I was going to call on Derek to introduce them, but you guys want, let's see, who wants to come up and introduce the group?
Are we ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, so we're with Future Prep. We're presenting the Grand Haven artifacts. For those in the audience, if you don't know, the artifacts of Grand Haven are any of the pieces of artwork or pieces of history around our city. So for example, any of the murals on the buildings or even the train or the coal tipple. So again, like I said, we're through Future Prep, through the Ottawa area district, and we are all Grand Haven juniors and seniors. I'm Michaela George.
I'm Peyton Holt.
I'm Jay Harris.
I'm Marley Kokoma.
I'm Sydney Kokoma.
I'm Nora Cody.
I'm Olivia Munch.
And I'm Riley Smith.
So our driving question is a bit long, so bear with me a moment. But it is, how can the city of Grand Haven continue ownership and maintenance of the artifacts and artwork it currently owns, encourage more artwork in public spaces, and keep costs for these non-essential assets to a bare minimum so as they do not interfere with the delivery of essential public services? Okay, so after learning our driving question, these are the protocols that we went through to help our thinking process and finding our solution.
One of the first protocols that we went through was taking a bus tour around Grand Haven, and this allowed us to just see some different artifacts, and we got to learn about the history behind them and what they mean. We also got to receive our driving question, so this helped us start thinking about possible solutions.
So next was the investigation stage. So this is where we talked to people like Mr. Formsma, we talked to the city mayor, and this is where we got to really gather important information. So we also got to talk to other cities and see what they do about our driving question, see how they go about that. And we also got to take a look at what we have already tried and what has worked and what has not worked. And we also got to look at different employee experiences.
The next protocol that we took was talking to mentors. So all of us got into pairs of 2 and were assigned 1 mentor each. This was a great opportunity for us because we got to focus on closer conversations, and by talking with the mentors, we were able to learn their personal life as well as professional, and what they go through in a successful business. They also got to share advice about what they learned through their own experiences and talk us through obstacles and advantages that they faced. We also got to learn some highs and lows of being in a business and how to grow and improve through those challenges.
Okay, so the next protocol was a very important protocol in our procedure. So this was the sticky note activity. So it's basically where we all individually brainstormed our ideas that we put towards our solution. And we would definitely all say that this activity really allowed us to see where everyone's ideas kind of branched out to. We got to look at research that we gathered from important people that we talked to, different cities. And it was a way where we could really put our ideas together and scope out what would work best for our city. And overall, we would definitely say it was a significant activity into our next step of organizing things and really bringing things together.
After going through these protocols, we wanted to share a few things that we've noticed. The first thing we've noticed is that the community struggles with minimal involvement in public art and history projects. Funding is often unstable, and it makes it difficult to plan for long-term maintenance. Without strong public participation and reliable support, these programs are harder to sustain. The second thing we've noticed is history. Many residents are unaware of the city's historical artifacts and their importance. Some items, such as the Boy Scout statue, are not always properly recognized or aligned with our values today, and this lack of awareness makes it harder to protect and value our local history. Next we have is art. There is limited communication between artists and the community, which can lead to confusion and disagreement about new artwork. Some residents are unsure whether they want certain art in public spaces, In addition, insufficient policy support and unclear maintenance responsibility makes it difficult to manage and protect these artworks. Lastly is our target audience. Public art and history projects are not always effectively shared with the media and the community. Limited promotion reduces awareness and public interest. As a result, fewer people become involved or support these programs. So from these noticings, we've made our solution, Chat About Grand Haven. Each letter stands for things we've noticed. C for community, H for history, A for art, and T for target audience.
So we want more volunteer opportunities in Grand Haven and to make this everyone's problem. We chose C for community because it will bring people together and create a strong sense of support and bring people together. Working together will improve our neighborhood, share ideas, and solve problems. We want Grand Haven to be a positive, safe environment where everyone feels included. Do we have the permission to pass out the flyers?
Sure.
So in these flyers, it includes a QR code on the top left, which is just a map of Grand Haven, mostly targeted for the tourists, and a website to the city of Grand Haven where they could volunteer to sign up. So we want to turn creativity into community and to help people understand why these artifacts matter and why it should be a problem. Yeah.
We've talked to a few cities, and we've seen astounding amounts of economic growth and community involvement to these cities. I'm so sorry. And we found out from talking to the heads of these cities what it is they do to encourage their communities to embrace creativity. As we know, Grand Rapids has their famous art prize. Saugatuck has dozens of local galleries that line their streets, and they host a bunch of local galleries in the popular fall stroll on the winterfront. South Haven features over 120 artists, and the town hosts events like the Mistletoe Market, which sells local art.
So next, we chose history for our H because so many of our artifacts show a part of Grand Haven through their history, and not a lot of people know about it. So our solution to that was an artifact walk, or even a bus tour that would help the people of Grand Haven learn about the history. This topic has been brought up with a lot of people that we talked to with our time with you guys, which shows there's going to be clear interest and suggests it has a strong chance of being successful. And your next question is who's done this well?
Excuse me.
So some cities that have done this well have been Grand Rapids with their walking tours and their scavenger hunts, Muskegon with the Hackley houses and their guided walks, and Silver Lake with the historic walks. Me personally, I believe that Muskegon is a great example for these because I have been to the Hackley houses, and just being able to see the homes and tour them has drawn me to want to learn more about the city and be able to experience.
We chose A for artifacts and art because it's at the core of this issue and plays a powerful and meaningful role in our community. It directly connects to our driving question by showing how creative expression influences the people, culture, and identity of our community. One solution we have found to address the topic of art in our community is to create an art committee. This committee would oversee decisions about public art, including who can contribute, what art is appropriate, and when and where pieces should be displayed. Its purpose would be to make sure that the art chosen reflects values and interests of the people of Grand Haven. The committee would establish clear guidelines and boundaries to ensure decisions are fair, thoughtful, and organized. Having a structured group in charge would also mean that someone is responsible for tracking projects, reviewing proposals, and managing communication so nothing is overlooked. This committee would be volunteer-based include local artists, giving them more opportunities to share their work and be actively involved in the community. We believe this is a realistic solution because it has been discussed in the past, showing that there is already interest and support in it.
So another city that's done this very well is Holland. I've had the opportunity to talk to the city mayor and have her answer a few questions for me. So in Holland, these artifacts are carefully placed in the museum where they are neatly organized, and they refer to these artifacts as records. There, the records are organized by who made these artifacts, where do the artifacts go, and how long and how they are maintained. So the workers at the museum help maintain these artifacts, and they do get a salary for it. And again, bringing the idea of the art community to Grand Haven will help us to lower the cost and facilitate the outcomes that Holland has had success with.
So next for our T, we chose target audience because we would like to reach the community. We would like to connect the community to this issue through fundraising, but we don't just want to connect the community through fundraising and getting money. We want to get them involved through marketing and social media. This can give them a better understanding on how hard we work to raise the money in the city. This can give them a reason to care more about what we're doing. And as was said, we talked to Mr. Formsma and we started to brainstorm some ideas to get the children involved. We thought about some car washes and just getting the community involved and helping the youth participate and want to participate. We really want to promote the culture, beauty, and unique artwork of our city.
Our target audience is to target tourists that come into Grand Haven. So we want to help them explore more of Grand Haven, not just the beaches, so we can bring more people downtown. We can start by giving out the flyers like we gave you guys. That has a map on it with all the artifacts and where they're located, so that tourists are able to find those artifacts and walk around and learn about them on their own time. Also, personally, when I go on vacation, I like to learn about what the town has to offer and their history about it and what it's all about. And I have no doubt that tourists that come to Grand Haven want to do the same thing. We can also offer a bus tour like we've mentioned before. This would provide a guide that would explain the history of the artifacts so people are able to learn about the artifacts and why we have them here and what they mean to us. And lastly, we can have donation boxes around the city where tourists as well as residents can help raise money specifically for maintaining the artifacts.
So some places that have done this well have been Zeeland with their slogan as Feel the Zeal and Muskegon with Watch Us Go. Having a good slogan in your city is very important because it is good for promoting and marketing your city. And we could have ours something like what was on the flyers, turn creativity in community.
So, after coming up with all of our possible solutions, we wanted to make sure that they would be applicable to Grand Haven. So as a group, we created something called the Nuff Test and ran through it. We made sure that all of our ideas were new, useful, and feasible for Grand Haven.
Thank you for your time and consideration. We are now open to any questions.
Well, thank you for this. I would invite council members to questions and comments.
I'm continually in awe of your classes and everything you do. I've worked with a few of the classes through Kenzie's Bee Cafe, and I'm honestly amazed. I'm a little sad I read it through myself before you did this, but it only made it better having you guys do it again the second time and everything you guys explained. I have a couple questions. Where's the Red Bull that was in one of your slides?
It's across the, so if you're at like the mini golf course?
Yeah.
If you're at the mini golf course, you can kind of see it over the water. And it's a red ram.
I did not know that exists, so thank you.
Linear Park.
It's at Linear Park.
Thank you. So I didn't even know that was there, and I've been to that golf course and done fundraisers multiple times. Our point. See, I'm
Case in
very,
point.
see, yeah, exactly right. And do you think, I mean, I appreciate everything you guys have thought of, and I really think you've done a really, really great job. Do you think that there's enough for another group to follow up and dive deeper into like grant funding or following up where we could set up that committee and how that would structure and follow up? I mean, I think you guys have built something so wonderful. And the fact that you guys have already created a map for us to follow, and we don't have to do that and spend city money doing that, that's incredible. Do you think there's for like more that we can do to look into that? Would there be enough for another group to dive into, or have you guys taken care of it?
We don't want to put all the responsibility on us. Like we said, we want to make it an everyone issue. We think that it should be something that both the community and the members of the Grand Haven City Council come together on.
I think that's great. I think a committee is a really good idea. The Arts Council in Holland does an amazing job.
A+.
Yeah.
You all killed it. I enjoyed it so much. This is what I do when I'm not here. And so the branding part of this, the brand book, the consideration of our town to have a slogan and a reason beside the beaches. And then that map, to have people have a tour and be able to kind of go site to site. We all love a scavenger hunt. I think that's just brilliant. So, yeah, I'm with Erin. I'd love to see this take hold, and I'd love to see a cultural or arts committee take hold in Grand Haven. I think it's really needed, and I think it's a great marketing tool for our city, which, again, just helps bring people here, create more interest, which helps our businesses and all of that thrive. So thank you so much. You did a wonderful job.
I just want to echo that also. I want to say thank you very much for all the hard work you did. And just in my mind thinking now that we have a tool downtown called kiosk down there. If we could make it one of those kiosks for when the tourists come to town, they're walking downtown, if they could see the map and that and get their interest. I live in an area where there's a lot of short-term rentals over there. And I had a guy fly in from Germany one time, and he couldn't even get to the beach. He didn't know how to get there. His plane was at the airport. He couldn't get transportation here. And then, so my wife took him around town, and we were showing all the things we had. We did kind of like a little tour. So you're absolutely correct. We need to get out there and get people know what we have. And also, the artifacts. My brother's a Dulcin at the Muskegon Museum up there, so it runs in our family pretty heavy. And so when they first come to Grand Haven, we started putting the artifacts out there, but it's not really, you're absolutely correct, it's not really organized. If we could do something better than what we had, I love the artist thing. I love having coming in, putting, sculptures in that. You guys did a fantastic job of identifying everything and letting us know where our weaknesses are. So thank you so very, very much. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. There's not much I can add to what's already been said other than great job. Wonderful presentation, identifying a lot of the issues that we have and possible solutions. Like, Councilmember Fritz has said, the map, just to guide people to where all of them are. Even some of our council members could probably use one.
Yep, I'm already on it. I'm excited.
So if you happen to print, get an extra one of those, I know someone who could use one. I like the idea of an art committee. I think that's a really great thing that you had brought up. That gives an opportunity for a lot of people to volunteer and make a more public awareness, which is one of the things that you had mentioned that we're kind of lacking in. So I think a committee would be great. I would love to see a bunch of volunteers for a committee at some point in time. I think there's plenty of energy in the group from what we've seen this evening. So appreciate everything you've done and want to just say thank you. Thank you very much.
And I want to say, too, that I had the privilege of working with Norma and Riley as mentors, or maybe they mentored me. I appreciated that. Appreciated working with the group and the energy and the commitment you brought and all the weeks you spent working on it. The city expresses its personality in a number of ways, and the public art and the artifacts that we have on display are one of those. And sometimes I think we get a little bit, not jaded, but kind of don't know what we've got and don't appreciate what we've got, and it just becomes part of the background. So having a group like you come forward and highlight it, appreciate the importance, and try to bring some emphasis and some things we can do to bring it to the forefront, keep it alive, and keep it important in the public eye. I think that's really critical, and that's what you've done tonight. So our task now would be to keep it going, to take what you've given us and turn it into an ongoing activity, something we can appreciate and bring to the community day after day, year after year from now on. And I know you'll all move on to your careers, and you're all going to have fabulous careers. But this will be one step in that, but you've left something with us that we can build on. It's up to us to find a way to do that. Appreciate all that, appreciate your thoughts and everything you put into this, and thank you very much, and hope you all do very well with your next activities, but we're not quite ready for you to abandon this yet, so anything else you can do to follow up, if there is a follow-up to this, we'd love to hear that, and if this is what we have to work with, then we'll take it and run from here. So thank you very much.
I just want to add something, Bob, if you don't mind, is that what I liked about it is getting the school involved. That's a very good suggestion on that, because if we get the youth to come in, it just explodes it even more, because that's where it all starts. Elementary school on up, we got to keep everybody's interest in it. So I like it. Thank you very much for mentioning that in your presentation here. Having a school and everything else involved, that's a big thing. For anything we do around here, is always have a school involved, because kids are that's our future we need to take a look at. So thank you very much.
Anyone else? Anything from staff?
Nope, just nice
Okay.
job.
Nice job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was the only item of our work session, so we're going to take about a 10-minute break here.
Hitting me at my
Regular City Council meeting for March 2nd, 2026. Marie, would you call the roll?
Fritz,
Here.
Callio,
Here.
Lyon,
Here.
Dora,
Here.
Manetza.
Here. Our invocation this evening is by Reverend Dr. Jerry Kramer from St. John's Episcopal Church. Would you please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
The Lord be with you. Let us pray. O Lord, our governor, bless the leaders of our land, that we may be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to other nations of the earth. To the President and members of the Cabinet, to governors of states, mayors of cities, and to all in administrative authority, grant wisdom and grace in the exercise of their duties. To senators and representatives and those who make our laws in states, cities, and towns, give courage, wisdom, and the foresight to provide for the needs of all your people and to fulfill our obligations to our community. To the judges and officers of our courts, give understanding and integrity that human rights may be safeguarded and justice served. Teach our people to rely on your strength and to accept their responsibilities to their fellow citizens, that they may elect trustworthy leaders and make wise decisions for the well-being of our society, that we may serve you faithfully in our generation and honor your holy name. And Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we ask that tonight you will send down upon those who hold office in this city of Grand Haven the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people, through Jesus Christ, my Lord. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have one reappointment this evening. Would you please read that?
Item A, reappoint Terry French to the Construction Board of Appeals with a term ending December 31, 2026.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Fritz, second by Callio. Any questions on this appointment? Please call the roll.
Fritz,
Yes.
Callio,
Yes.
Dora,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. And we have two new appointments. Could you read those?
Item A, appoint Elizabeth Butler to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority / the Economic Development Corporation with a term ending March 31, 2029. And item B, appoint Rachel Pincum, Rachel, to the Parks and Recreation Board with a term ending June 30th, 2027.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, a motion by Dora, second by, or did I get that backwards?
Either way.
Lyons. Those two names. Yeah, questions, concerns, anything on these two appointments?
Nope.
Please call the roll.
Dora,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Callio,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Okay, brings us to the approval of the consent and regular agendas. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion by Fritz, second by Callio. Any changes that we want to make to either the consent or regular agendas? Anything to be moved? Okay, would you please call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
Callio,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Dora,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to our first call to the audience. At this time, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Those addressing council are asked to provide their name and address, will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, will not have a response at this time. Those not physically present who would like to call in may dial 616-935-3203. Who would like to address council?
Good evening, Jim Hagan, 400 Lake. I'm going to read an email that I sent out to council and to city administration. It's going to have a little bit of a change in it, though, because just today I spent quite a bit of time looking at the Brownfield plan. And there's a lot of commonalities between the original letter and the things that I've noted in the Brownfield plan, namely the use of a whole lot of school funding that's captured by either the Oprah certificate or the Brownfield, which I am so totally against. Anyway, I'll get into it. City council members, now that you're in a strategic planning, please please discuss, develop, and issue a policy of how the city will be employing OPR certificates in the future. Also, how to restructure routine brownfield plans to avoid capturing school operating millage and SET, which is the state education tax. As the city continues evaluating the Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act as a tool for investing along Washington Avenue and throughout downtown, a conservative and fiscally balanced approach is recommended. A standard 7-year OPR certificate focused on local millages, and that's not including any of the school funding, would provide a predictable, limited incentive that encourages rehabilitation of older commercial buildings while protecting the long-term tax base. To ensure the program grows at a measured pace, the policy could include guidance on approving no more than 2 OPR projects per year, resulting in an estimated steady-state maximum of approximately 14 active OPR certificates at any given time. The recommendation also proposes that Grand Haven not routinely request state approval to reduce school operating taxes or state education tax. School tax reductions require a separate approval or a separate application to the state treasurer and are limited statewide each year, and that's actually at nominal 25. In practice, these approvals are typically reserved for large housing or transformational redevelopment projects in major urban centers. Most small-scale downtown, is that the thing for me?
No.
Oh, okay. Most small-scale downtown rehabilitation projects proceed successfully using local OPR incentives. By focusing on local millages, the city can still provide meaningful assistance while avoiding unnecessary competition for limited statewide school abatements. Excluding school tax abatements helps maintain strong support from residents, schools, and regional partners by preserving education funding while still enabling steady downtown reinvestment. This balanced approach aligns with how many comparable Michigan communities introduce OPR programs, starting with local-only incentives and reserving school tax requests for rare, large projects that deliver significant housing or economic impact. Thanks.
That's the one. Thank you, Jim. And yes, we did get your email previously. Who else would like to address council?
Good evening, Jared Belka, 150 Ottawa, Grand Rapids. I'm here speaking and requesting support for items 12A and B. We were here previously for a public hearing. I know there were questions and some concerns that came up. I did provide a memo, I believe you were presented with, to try and address some of those items. I would just also mention, I think you were made aware, Andy, the developer, was not able to be here this evening due to a death in the family. But did ask me to come address any questions. I'm available when those items come up. If you'd like to dive in deeper into any of those, again, the requested support, while on its face, I know it sounds like a lot. I tried to break that down in terms of, how that equates into today's dollars, how that your support rolls into financing a project like this. So again, here to request your support, happy to answer any questions to go into that further. I think in the memo presented, the project aligns with the city's current economic development policy, and I know there was a third-party report, but happy to speak on any of those items, but appreciate your considerations.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. And when that item comes up, we may have questions. Okay. Who else would like to address council?
Hi, friends. Kelly Larson, Temptations Ice Cream, 1 North Harbor, and I am actually also chair of the DDA. I am here on behalf of Peace Frogs today, as they're a lease on your agenda, and I very much would like to support that lease with both of my hats on. Number one, Temptations are a great tenant, happy to have them take more space, and to have another business in our district who wants to expand in our district. So I hope tonight you will support that lease and give them a little bit more space. Thank you.
Thank you. Good timing.
I know. It's almost like I was listening.
Mike Weaver, 637 Lake Avenue. This is also in regards to the tax abatement for 123 Washington, I believe it is, and also known as Flotos. I've spoken once before on the Grand Haven Jewelry Building and just these tax breaks in general. I hadn't paid that much attention, although I do know the city has done this a multitude of times. Once in a while, we take it on the chin, like Grand Landing. But I think what the biggest problem continues to be here is that let's start calling these what they are, and that is a bailout. It's a government bailout, a taxpayer-funded government bailout of a business. Okay, that's harsh, but it's the truth. A business owner shouldn't walk in government's door and say, I need your help, I want your help, because they either didn't think it through or they thought it through and said, oh, they rubber stamp things here. Well, pick whatever reason you want, but the truth of the matter is, we have a vibrant town. Our rate of growth is quite good, especially around the surrounding area. Housing's becoming unaffordable. Every time you give these breaks, okay, what you do is drive up the value of real estate. Because let's just take Dake, for example. Well, there's a price on that property of, I think it's $3 million. They want breaks. Well, if you don't give them the breaks, they get to go back to the seller and say, hey, you know what, your property's not worth that because I can't get the breaks. Let's bring it down. So you're really, when you give these breaks to people, you're actually creating a burden, not just for the taxpayers, but for everybody in this town for the future, including our schools. And I think if you're paying attention, you see how much trouble our schools are in. Anyways, if somebody makes a mistake, and especially an entrepreneur or a business person, or they just want a handout, it's not the citizen's job to fix it. It's not your job to fix it. You might say, oh, we want this or we want to see that in this town. That's great, but guess what? Natural selection in business is probably the most pure form of growth. When something is successful, it grows. If something's not successful, it fails. If you subsidize it, all you do is prolong its death. Now, I believe a piece of this might be, and I haven't studied it, I'll be honest with you, was a restaurant. I think that might be a component. 50% of all restaurants, and that's generous, I've read up to 70, fail in 5 years. Once again, let's not make this the city's problem or the citizens' problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Who else would like to address council? So there are no public hearings this evening. This will be your only opportunity to address council before we take action.
Will there be a time after we get more explanation to?
Okay, so we held a public hearing last meeting on the Flotos property. And so that was last week. So this time it's be a motion for council to act on and we'll discuss. So this is the call to the audience time. If you want to say something, now's the time.
I thought I saw another time.
At the end of the meeting, there'll be another call to the audience. We'll be done with our business by then.
I'm coming in a little cold because I didn't have time to research it a lot.
Okay, could you give us your name?
Oh, Robin Vandenberg, 1006 South Harbor.
Thank you.
Was it 1.2 million that they're asking for, or is it 1.7 million that Flotos needs for their rehab of their building?
I mean, what are they asking for in incentives? Or what do they expect to expend?
Am I on the wrong?
Trying to figure out what your question is.
What are they asking for in the TIF?
Do you know?
They're asking for $589,800 in total TIF capture. A portion of that is state and portion of that is local capture.
Okay, and the local capture equates to X amount per building, or what, how do they figure that?
No, so that is based on actual construction costs, so reimbursable activities that they incur, and then the future tax growth of the property that reimburses them for those expenses, a portion of those expenses.
Okay, because there hardly is a building downtown Grand Haven that is not having some type of obsolescence in it. And almost every building downtown will qualify for money that can be captured this way. I had understood that the total amount he was asking for was including the purchase price of the building, but that is not correct?
No, he's not being reimbursed for the purchase price of it.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of difference. But I also would like to speak to the 25 years of deferred taxes, or there's another word for it, I can't think of it right now. Anyway, there's so many years. We're just starting to capture the ones off the island over there. 25 years from now, I don't know how old the developer is, but he could be gone by the time all of this comes to fruition. I've been in commercial real estate for over 40 years. If we got 10 years out of anything, the industrial park and everything, that was a great gift. Everybody was happy to get that. The 25 years, a lot happens in 25 years. You know, it's like what Mike said, everybody is suffering from the fact that this money isn't coming into our economy, and we have to make it up. Everybody has to make it up. And I'm just struggling with 25 years. It's just so long. Grand Haven is a great place to develop. We can attract many good developers if we would begin to market our properties different. This is a private individual, I understand that. But to think that we have to take everything that comes along because we need this money for that, there'll be somebody who can offer another deal. There'll be somebody that will come in and use their own money, like all of us building owners did downtown. We bought the building and then we improved it on our own. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Carol Laco. I live at 78 Grand. My thought concerning the Flotos building is that a 2-year tax abatement and no longer possibly could be appropriate. The reason I'm saying 2 years is because after 2 years, this building should not be a cost to the owner, but it also should be a source of revenue for the owner. And considering that money will be coming in from rental from the building, I hesitate to extend a tax abatement for any longer than 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No one else is coming forward, then I'm going to close the call to the audience. And we will now roll into our presentations for the evening. First up, we have a presentation by Tracy Riley for Coast Guard Festival application. Tracy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here tonight with our Marketing Director from Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival, Annie Lengeek, and we're here to talk about the 2026 festival, which will run from July 24th through August 2nd this year, and think in warm weather, so here we go.
Much colder festival, yeah.
Pardon me?
It would be a much colder
Yes,
festival.
it would be. So we start off the week with the Lighthouse Quilt Guild. Added an extra day last year. Again, this year starts Thursday at the Second Christian Reformed Church. Tri-Cities Family YMCA Coast Guard City Run on the 25th. Registration through the Y website organized by the staff of the YMCA. Both of those are not festival events, but they happen during festivals, so we put them into our packet. Waterfront Stadium, we request permission to use the Waterfront Stadium for that following entertainment that you see up there. All of this is the same as it has been in years past, except for the entertainment changes this year. So you'll see what we have coming up this year for music. I should note that Sunday is we're adding Sunday this year. Harkup has agreed to do a concert for us on Sunday night. So we have one extra night of concerts this year. And please stop me if you have any questions while I zip through. This is set up at the Waterfront Stadium, again, the same as in years past. Tends to work the best for us.
Tracy, the bathrooms, the porta-johns, are they outside? Like, do you have to exit to use the bathrooms?
They are, and we have people, we put wristbands on folks to let them in and out. But yeah, the porta-johns are outside of the stadium fence.
Is that so that they can be used by like the carnival and everything else?
Yeah, it can be used by,
instead?
they get a lot of use out there. And yeah, we really don't have the room, I don't think, probably to put them inside either, so. Mulligan's Hollow schedule of events. Sunday, we have the community picnic Sunday afternoon. This year it will be start at 3 o'clock. Tuesday, it'll start at noontime. Tuesday, Kids Day. Wednesday, Senior Day, as usual. And we will have an ice machine up at Mulligan's Hollow for those events and the amount of ice that we go through up there as well. This was the setup for Kids Day, the proposed layout. This is what we had last year. The plans will be much the same this year for Kids Day. Municipal Marina boat slips. Asking you to use the 21 boat slips 1 through 20 and 22 from Sunday at noon through the following Sunday at noon as well. Again, we request the slips be granted at the going rate. And also, if anything changes and slips 21, 23 become available, we would request those as well. Skirbeck Carnival. Carnival will be in the same footprint this year as it has been in the past several years with the use of Chinook Pier as well. And those are the hours. You can see the hours posted. Those are also the same as the past years. Notice at the bottom we request the spots for the charter fishermen for that week in the farmer's market lot. Parking lot layouts, where everything will be. Harbor Island is a temporary campsite for the carnival operators, Saturday the 25th through the 2nd of August. And permission to use the harbor transit for a shuttle in conjunction with the Harbor Island for folks that can come in and park and shuttle into town for the festival. Lighthouse kiosk placement. Ask that our lighthouses can be placed within the city of Grand Haven with all the festival information, the large wooden lighthouses that you see on the sidewalks, pass information about the festival. Food vendors. Again, same as the past couple of years.
I have been approached by a few local restaurants that have asked me to request less food trucks. As the years have gone on and the up and down with the number of food trucks that have been in town and the number that have, like, between the Elks and all of this, like the week that used to be the busiest week of the year for them no longer is. And they just say like how many food trucks there are in town and how it's like kind of decimating business and not, it's no longer, the week they're expecting and the week they prepare for every year. So just something to consider as we move forward to the final,
Okay.
plan for the season. Just to consider that. It's been more than one downtown business that has brought it to my attention.
We are, and our limit is maxed right there. That's the most we can fit, and depending on the size of the trailers, it might be one or two less. But
I know there's space for 18, but you typically don't have that many.
pardon me?
Typically, you don't have
No,
18.
that's that would be the max, and,
Yep.
and of course, again, some of those trailers are bigger than others, so it's kind of a jigsaw puzzle when we get them in and put them together and decide who is bringing what. Vendor and sponsor booths. You can see all down along the boardwalk. Kids Parade, same route as in past years. Starts at the lot over by the courthouse, down to First, up Washington and around. That's on Saturday, the 25th. Grand Parade, same layout again, and the same permissions to request the grandstands, the street closures, etc. And there's the layout for the Grand Parade. Cardboard Boat Race, the first Saturday, July 25th, 1:30 in Waterfront Stadium. We will have rescue swimmers and the floating dock, and everyone's required to wear a life jacket. Cruise and Car Show Sunday morning, right down Washington Street. And then, of course, Tuesday, one of the fan favorites is the street dance. So permission to close Washington for that event. Memorial service, permission to close Harbor Drive over to Butcher's Burrito from Escanaba Park for the time during that ceremony. Friday night drone show after the entertainment. Again, launched from Dewey Hill, where the drones are not over anyone, and ask for access to the hill the evening of Thursday for setup. Fireworks, as always, same company, Pyrotechnico, and the same permits. You can see a picture of where the drones will be laid out. And traffic cones and signs, no parking, carnival campsites, RV parking prohibited, all the signs that we've had in the past that help us get everybody moving around town that week. And for the parades and carnival. Carnival will be in Harborfront, Chinook Pier, over in the Covenant Lot, as it has been in the past few years. So you can see where that all runs together there. Food vendor row, to keep that clear for the vendors, City Marina, vendors row, and the street dance for no parking for those events. And for the vendors. Emergency routes, again, the same as previous. And during the memorial service, and the Community Picnic Kids Day and Senior Day up in Mulligan's Hollow. Some special requests, request the flexibility for the start time of the musical fountain each night. We're in direct contact with them every night, but depending on weather, and we will delay if there's lightning that's too close. I think the first time we've canceled in a really, really long time was last year on Wednesday, so we hope that we don't do that again for a very long time, but we could have some fluctuation if we have some weather come in where we have to delay. Request the permission to place the porta-johns on city properties, temporary banners and portable signs throughout Harbor and Washington, the Chamber, and then the trash truck, an additional trash truck. The Coast Guard banner in front of the utility boat on Beacon, once the threat of snow is over, hopefully soon. Banner at Coho Drive. And then the over street banner after the car show for the street dance and other things. And as always, permission to display Coast Guard City USA on Dewey Hill from July 22nd through August 5th. And that is the end. Any questions?
Okay, questions, comments?
Is there anything, this is the first presentation I've seen, because I'm new here, anything different in this than we've had in previous years?
Anything, I'm sorry?
Anything different in
No,
this?
actually, it's very much the same this year. There will be some changes coming with building on Chinook Pier in future years, but right now, this is basically the same presentation pretty much as we had last year, so.
And then just as a participant that likes to go to the Coast Guard Fest, yeah, more porta-johns would probably be great outside of that event space. So-
We've got them,
I'm
we've
sure
got
you've
them
heard
jammed
that.
everywhere. We try to fit them in wherever we can. but
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
That one was last year a little noticeable. But thank you for all you do.
You're welcome. Well, thank you to the city for all the support that we get. This festival couldn't go on without all of this planning and all this support, so we appreciate all the support that we get from the city as well, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation and the time. Appreciate it.
Sure.
It's always a fun event. I enjoy the food trucks, so.
You just hop from one to the next.
Different meal every night, so.
You try them all out. Thanks, Mike.
Anyone else?
I just want to say thank you, that's all.
Okay, so,
Oh, I have a couple things. I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time a few weeks ago. We had met, and I would still like us to continue the conversation on how we can either bring the street dance into the social district or bring the social district to the street dance. I just think that can be something that could be worked out to make that night more enjoyable for everyone and for the businesses as well, as we try to continue to make that business thing more friendly. And I would just like, and maybe Emily can answer this or you can answer this, what is the cost to the city of the Coast Guard Festival? Like, what part is not reimbursed to the city?
You want to
Emily Green, Finance Director. A considerable cost is not reimbursed to the city. We do invoice, I don't have the exact number from the prior years, but there is a considerable cost that the city supplements to have this festival go on and bring all the people in that come.
It would be nice to know what those numbers are. I think the city deserves to know what that number is.
We can better prepare that, but yeah, a lot of it is different staff time allocations. Some of the traffic control orders, we don't recuperate, but inspections, different things like that, as well as additional staffing that comes in, as well as our mandated time in by contract for the festival. So we could easily put a number to that, but there's a balance.
I mean, honestly, love Coast Guard, love everything about it. Harbor Boat Race might be the funnest thing in the world to watch. But like, I just think it's important when we're proving these big things that like we let the city know too what they're paying for.
We can get that number.
okay. And I think a lot of it is services as opposed to out-of-pocket expenses, but
It's
it
still payroll.
all adds up. And I think we've asked this question in prior years also. I just, I'll comment on the food trucks. I like the food trucks because I think it brings some variety that we wouldn't otherwise have at a time when there's a lot of extra people in town. And so it's just something different. It makes it a little more special. And not to take away from local businesses, but I think there's lots of people to feed and there's variety then. So I appreciate that, but yes, it's possible to overdo it. I was wondering if you have any feel yet, maybe it's too early, to know what kind of boat you're going to get, or if there's going to be brass coming from the Coast Guard or any of that?
We don't know which brass are coming yet. As most of you know, DHS is not working right now or not open right now. So we haven't heard too much yet from the Coast Guard. We have been told tentatively that we have several cutters coming in to include the Mackinac, which makes everybody pretty happy. Mackinac Sequoia, which is a 225 that just came into Port Huron and switched out with the previous 225. They had a midlife build. And so now Sequoia is up there in Port Huron. They'll be here, as well as the Bristol Bay. Tentatively, those are the 3 cutters that are coming in, so.
Okay. Good to know. I know it's a little early for that, but it's good to have some idea what's coming.
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway, I appreciate what the Coast Guard Festival Committee does. It's a lot of work. It's a year-round job. Supports a lot of good causes, and it keeps the town interesting and fun in the summer.
Yep.
So, good work.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, now we have
Mike. No, we have Mike.
I was starting to talk, but that's okay.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I let her go for, I wasn't quite done yet, but it just,
Oh, okay.
she had her thing saying.
Continue.
I don't mind food trucks myself either, but, because I know a lot of my employees, they look forward to it every year. It's a different taste for them, per I say. But anyways, since there's no changes, there hasn't been any changes for the last quite a few years now, so. And I enjoy the festival. It brings in a lot of people to town. It supports all of our businesses. All of our restaurants get really swamped. I know that because you can't get into them when the day's happening. So I want to say thank you for all your volunteers that work so hard to make it happen here. And just keep up the good work and keep promoting it as much as you can. It brings in a lot of people and it helps out a lot of our businesses. So thank you.
All right, well, that brings us now to our draft capital plan presentation with Emily Green.
Emily Green, Finance Director. So this is the first draft of the capital plan for the 26-27 budget year. Capital plan overview is the first page, and this just shows the original and the projected 25-26. So the gray and the pink shaded. A couple years ago, we put the original, so you know what was originally scheduled or budgeted, and then the amended budget. And then also the 26-27 project or requested budget for is in the blue column. The summary page then shows the total for each fund and department, and also includes future fiscal years 28 through 2032. And then the next pages have details of the specific capital items and projects with the budgeted amounts, the total project costs, and the anticipated outside funding. Outside funding can include local, state, federal, and reimbursements. And then this is important, the capital plan, 6-year capital plan is important just because of long-term capital needs. Helps to us to identify the projects for possible outside funding, and we try to get that outside funding as much as we possibly can. It makes a difference. So I wanted to highlight a few changes from prior capital plans. The invasive species remediation is not listed in the capital plan this year. It's expensed under professional contractual, and you'll see that in a separate line item when you get the full budget document. It'll be the detailed line item that'll have that specifically broken down. There's an increase in IT this year for network and server operating system updates. And then there's a decrease in city sewer and major streets funds because we did the Fulton project this past year. So you'll notice a decrease in that. This year's capital plan has more substantial focus on infrastructure and motor pool items than last, and a few of these items include, we are going to continue the $100,000 transfer to the fire truck replacement fund. That is a large expense, and we feel that that contribution is needed. Storm sewer reconnection at Fulton and Hopkins, water main lining along Ferry, Robbins Road lift station replacement, lead service line investigative work to be positioned to take advantage of outside funding. There's a potential DWSRF coming in June that we'll be able to apply for, and so we're going to start the investigative or continue the investigative work on that. Additional investments in sidewalks over the next 4 years, you'll notice that in the details. And then relating to motor pool, a street sweeper, plow, dump trucks, loaders, and lawn equipment. We are on a kind of a rotation with those, so that is normal, and you'll see if you look out those past years for those items, you'll see replacements on a scheduled basis. Included from the strategic planning session is the website mobile app redesign and the tree canopy inventory. And then a few completed projects with outside funding include the Sluka Field improvements, received approximately $250,000 in grants. The inner and outer lighthouses received approximately $160,000 between grants and community foundation funds this year, and anticipated $185,000 next year. And then Harbor Island remediation, we've secured over $4 million in between federal, state, and state grants, and then BLP and reimbursements. So just kind of some highlights of the capital plan. Again, it's important to list all the items so that we have the future projects listed and costs in the 6-year plan, just so that we can position ourselves and identify and secure available outside funding. And it's also early in the budget season, so just a reminder that we will be reviewing the budget and we'll be moving things. We'll expect changes to this by the time we hit the April 15th budget work session. So final document will have all of those changes that we discuss and figure out during the budget process.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. I know it's always a challenge to get it all worked out. Amazing effort by staff every year. I'm always amazed when I look at it and see the end result, so appreciate it. Thank you.
It's just the beginning.
I see we still have next year and the year after and the year after, we have placeholders in for Harbor Island, 20, 22 million, and
We
so
do.
on.
We do. We don't know what those numbers are yet.
No?
When we do.
We know something's coming.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You all set?
All right, thank you.
Later would be nicer than sooner.
All right, so that brings us to our consent agenda. Ray, would you read that?
Item A, approve the regular council meeting minutes for February 16, 2026. And item B, approve the bills memo in the amount of $2,307,024.13.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Fritz, second by Callio. Comments, questions, on any of these? Otherwise, please call the roll.
Fritz?
Yes.
Callio?
Yes.
Lyon?
Yes.
Dora?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. All right, that brings us to our unfinished business for the evening. This would be, there's 2 items of unfinished business here, but they're basically the same project, but because they're statutorily different, they're different programs, they appear on here as 2 separate items for our deliberation. Danny, you want to read these, or shall Maria read them and then you take over?
Perfect. Yep, I'll read the items.
You
as
go ahead and
always.
read them.
Item A, consideration by City Council of a resolution to establish an obsolete property rehabilitation district at 123 Washington Avenue, parcel number 70-03-20-405-018, with a legal description of west 44 feet of lots 161 and 162, original plat, EXC the most NLY part used for alley purposes, original plat, and to establish a finding that it is an obsolete property in an area characterized by obsolete commercial property or commercial housing property pursuant to Section 31A of the Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act, PA 146 of 2000. The Brownfield/EDC Board recommends approval and administration recommends approval.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Dora, second by Callio. All right, that gets it on the floor. Okay, Dana.
Yes. Thank you, Council. Good evening. So before you again is consideration of establishing a commercial, an obsolete property rehabilitation district with the intent ultimately for the developer to apply for and receive a Oprah certificate. Essentially, the project would freeze the taxable value upon approval and would then allow for the developer to pay the current rate of taxes, and then upon completion of the approved years, that taxable value would then increase post the years that it's frozen. So it would encourage the property owner to reinvest further in what has been deemed as the Ottawa County Assessor an obsolete property. The project itself does include rehabilitation of the existing facade. It's a very distinct facade, historical facade, so it would include restoration of that, as well as the addition of a third residential unit and rehab of the ground floor with the intent to fill that space with a new commercial entity and is targeted for a restaurant. We do have Jared Belka here, as he had previously noted, and he is able to answer additional questions. While this is the Oprah district request currently up for consideration, the mayor did mention that this is in conjunction with another request, which is the tax increment financing request. And for that particular portion of the project, they would be reimbursed for eligible activities over time based on actual costs of construction and what is considered eligible under the Act. So that request would be reimbursed over a period of 25 years and would be made up of both local tax capture as well as state tax capture. There was a note about being concerned about the impact to schools. I did want to share or clarify that the school aid fund does reimburse for lost capture to the school districts through a process through the state of Michigan. So they are considered to be made whole through that process. The project itself does align with our economic incentive policy that the BRA and the EDC board supported and ultimately City Council approved in a number of areas, including the total years that is being requested, as well as still coming into line with the policy that provides a total cap of incentive that can be issued through the state. We do in that policy say that we will not provide incentive of more than 7.5% of taxable value over the entire city. So that equates, just for reference, to just over $67 million of taxable value that could be requested through the various incentives. And right now, we have just over $38 million of projects that are incentivized under already approved incentive requests. So just to kind of give you a sense of how much is still remaining of that, of previous stated and approved incentive capture amount. So that's just a high-level overview. While the projects, both for the Oprah and for the tax increment financing, are collecting the new growth on tax capture, it's a little confusing when it says local capture. Local capture also includes Ottawa County, it includes the library, it includes other millages that are within the city, and the city operating budget for both the Oprah and TIF is a lower amount to the total local capture. So in the case of Oprah, it's just over 77,000 that would be being frozen or captured. And then the TIF capture is a little over 114,000 that would be captured and reimbursed to the developer and not received by the city in their operating budget. So I'm available for more questions, and then certainly Jared is as well representing the developer.
All right. And thank you for the recap. And I think that there may have been a little, not about confusion, but a little bit of lack of understanding of some of what this is. But I think on council here, we've been studying it pretty closely. So I guess I would open it up to council to start off a discussion. And if anyone has questions for Mr. Belka, please ask them. Who would like to ask first?
I'll ask.
Okay.
So when we talk about, I'm going to get these numbers wrong, so I apologize off the bat, but that we are at $68 million potentially for a brownfield. Is that Oprah and brownfield? as the
It's all
city?
all
in one.
incentives,
So
yep.
we can talk about this probably as one entity in the sense that when we say that there's $68 million kind of up for grabs and that we've only used $38 million, we're still talking about the budget for our city, correct? I mean, this isn't a separate entity than what we would bring into our infrastructure. All of these costs that we have is one bucket that this is, if we're not bringing in this incentive, we're not having for the rest of our operating costs.
So those numbers aren't actually budget numbers. There's a total taxable value that the city has, and we're saying we won't incentivize for projects more than 7.5% of our total taxable value.
Right.
So it's
I'm
not
sorry,
necessarily
I
operating
didn't say
budget.
that clearly. If we did receive that in, though, this money would still be going into our infrastructure and other costs for
Yeah,
our city.
so we do continue to receive additional tax, or our frozen tax base that goes towards our operations. It's just being frozen for a period of time.
But
and then
we're not foregoing the additional, though, if the investment doesn't happen. So that's the inherent
correct.
risk.
Sorry,
in
I was
the
not
incentives.
understanding.
I'm not saying it clearly.
okay.
This is my fault.
okay.
This isn't some separate entity
Correct.
that isn't
Yes,
one
sorry.
big pot
Yes.
for our city.
Yeah.
So when we defer it, we're
Right.
not receiving these funds to get
Correct.
the infrastructure. So if we can have a business be successful, it is better for us to receive the increased taxable income day one than it would be to forego it, basically. My concern with this is that I'm not sure who, it looks like the property was purchased at $687,000. Is that accurate? I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
believe
could
that
you-
Jared can speak to
Yeah.
that more directly.
Thank you. Yes, I
Yep.
believe that is correct.
Okay, so when that's purchased at that amount, I'm assuming inspections were done, I'm assuming that the price was based on deferred maintenance, outdated systems, required capital improvements. I mean, you're going to purchase a property knowing a business plan when you're making a commercial investment, is my thought. When we do that in an arguably valuable piece of real estate, I have a lot of concerns about deferring taxable income or having a tax abatement to kind of allow for the investor just to not put in capital investment in it. I understand that it is a building that needs work. I think it was mentioned that probably most of the businesses in town do. We have just had a presentation that we have an incredible amount of infrastructure costs that will need to be made in the future. I I'm always going to be very conservative about these tax abatements because I believe that when possible, our city needs to earn the investment of these tax dollars. And I don't think it should fall on the shoulders of all of the citizens to make up for the needed capital investment of a business owner. And so that's my talk on the Oprah portion of this. And then are we going to talk again on the
Well,
brownfield
the
separately, or are we just talking about this all at the
Well,
same time?
the motion on the floor is the Oprah.
So-
It's kind of an integrated discussion because the plan comes to us as these things put together. And we have to deal with them separately because of the way they're on the agenda.
And because they have different requirements.
They have different requirements, so I guess that if you think it's germane to this discussion to talk brownfield, otherwise, we can wait until we get to that item.
And
Yeah, I can talk about that then.
I'd be happy to address a couple of those points if you're open.
Oh, and I'm sorry, the other part of it that I wanted to mention, I was kind of disappointed to see the same packet come to us. I thought that in the open discussion, there was quite a bit of consideration on all members, if not most members of the council, that the length of the term and the amount asked for was probably not something we were all comfortable with. So to receive the same packet again, this time I was disheartened by. But that's all I have to say.
I'm happy
Sure.
if you're willing. So in terms of purchase price, obviously, if the building was in prime shape, it would have sold for a lot more, right? I mean, real estate, everybody's seen the prices of real estate escalate. So, and this is a new owner. The building hasn't seen any meaningful investment since 1955. There's a reason for that, right? It needs to make economic sense. I can appreciate the last comment in terms of the amounts, and what I tried to put that into. My original background is commercial banking, right? The lender looks at it, it's got to make economic sense. You have a third-party vendor who reviews these and provides a report, who validates the numbers. It's not like we're just putting numbers in front of you, and they actually went through that, provided input on those. At the end of the day, in order for somebody to make an investment, it needs to make economic sense. And I tried to break down those numbers in terms of what the true impact is to the city. And again, there is zero benefit to this developer unless he makes a front-end investment in this building. These savings, the Oprah savings, are property tax savings that he's generating through his investment. If he does nothing, he gets nothing. The same goes for the TIF. Without any investment, he gets nothing in return. So it's kind of the self-fulfilling incentive. He puts the money out up front, and there's a savings over a period of time. Yes, the time period is long, and yes, you can look at the media articles that throw a big number out. What I tried to do by the memo is to break that down from the city's perspective, keeping in mind this property is within the DDA, that this does not go to the city. Any increment is captured by the DDA. So it's not the city's operating budget that is foregoing this. That is covered through the DDA. If the DDA is making those infrastructure investments, and forgive me because I don't know what the DDA invests their money in, but this money that we're talking about is not going to the city. Those savings are spread amongst the taxing jurisdictions, and a small portion of that, if you look at the operating budget, which is captured by the DDA regardless, it's about $192,000. And again, because of the period of time, when a banker looks at this, they take a net present value of that, which I tried to outline in that memo. Those numbers are even smaller. Between the two, I think the total net present value of the Oprah would be about $165,000, spread amongst all the taxing jurisdictions. From the TIF, it equates to about $228,000. Those are using numbers that appraisers use each and every day. Again, I can appreciate the fact, everything you said, they're valid points. We're just trying to provide background of how a developer is looking at this, and it needs to make financial sense. He can certainly put a Band-Aid on it, which has been done since 1955, nursing it along, and you can continue to look at what you're looking at today. He's trying to bring a signature building in the downtown back to a vibrancy that I think everybody wants to see, but it takes a partnership. He's the one that's fronting the money to do that and getting some savings back over time after that, which is creating a long-term benefit to everybody. So again, I totally understand and appreciate all of the comments, but I'm trying to address those the best I can to say it comes down to dollars and cents. And they're the ones signing personal guarantees on things. We can argue about purchase price. If the building was in beautiful shape, there'd be a much higher price tag on that. But it's not, and he's trying to do a good thing and be a good partner, and that's why we're here asking.
And I appreciate all of those comments also. And I think what I said last time was, I don't blame him for coming and asking for this, because I think this is his job to be as profitable as he can be, using the tools in place that are available. I think it's our job to be, scrutinize each of these tax abatements. And in all fairness, yes, it is also his, interest, it's in his interest to make that investment, because he will get rent in 3 apartments in a 2,500 square foot commercial space then too. So, I mean, it's not just an incentive to, for us to, have the tax increase. It's an incentive for a business model. The other part of the Plant Moran question, this might be a go back to the brownfield, but I get a little confused sometimes, but the Plant Moran conversation, when they do that presentation, are they just taking that construction number that you provide, or are they helping to assist a square footage price for that?
They validate all the inputs on that. So
'Cause there was just a
rents,
construction-
expenses, and
I saw
construction
the rent
costs.
and I saw the, but I didn't see, I think I calculated like $165 a square foot construction costs for a remodel and an extension.
They actually suggested more. So I believe I can point out the page that number's on, but the developer is carrying any contingency on his back. They actually put that number in and bumped the budget up a little. And in this budget doesn't include projected tenant build out. And I can understand from the business decision, I know you mentioned that during the public hearing in terms of making the most money he can. If you dig into the Plant Moran numbers, the project is borderline philanthropic. So it's not about just collecting a rent check. It's about justifying the upfront investment. And
I think that makes me concerned also, because if it is so precarious, maybe it should be a different business model. Maybe we shouldn't add a 3rd apartment. Maybe we should look at a different business option there. Particularly, I mean, if we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we can already see that based on a projected what the property will be worth at some point, that's what you're projecting those numbers on. So if you put this investment in, they're making an assumption of what the property will be worth and how much those TIFs and things will be worth year after year.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to do that, there's an equity in that, and there is a business model. And if we're in a precarious model for that, maybe it needs to be re-identified as more plausible too.
That's the unfortunate part, is in this current market with interest rates and construction costs where they're at and what you can charge for rent, it would be very easy if he could charge 5 times the rent, right? Because of where costs are at. I mean, all of this it's all cost driven, right? You've got your rents, you've got your operating expenses. A project can only generate so much. The difficulty is you can't just increase someone's rent because you're not going to find anybody to take it. So what it comes back to is you can continue looking at what's there. That's probably the business model that you're referring to, is to say I can get a souvenir shop or whoever I can charge low rent for because, hey, I can put them in this functionally obsolete building. Or this isn't necessarily something that you can significantly increase density in, which is another factor. The more density you can create, the more revenue you can create, right? So there's limitations there because of the existing building, and then given its age. I mean, again, it hasn't seen any meaningful investment since 1955. There are unfortunate issues that you have to deal with that don't generate revenue, right? There's a historic facade that everybody loves, that Andy's very, in tune with and wants to preserve that for the community, but it costs money. And it's not something that you can go to your renter and say, pay me $100 more a month for, because you've got this historic facade in the downtown.
And I think frankly, if it was brought to us that it was an isolated facade to keep a historic value in the town and an abatement of asbestos, I think, those two things are out of bounds for normal remodels and construction. I think that I would have been more open to trying to find a way to understand this better. But the overall business model of this is hard for me to agree with. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
I mean, I can second everything that she just said. And if the facade is the issue, maybe we reconsider. I mean, I understand that Flotus is iconic. I understand that people would be so sad to see that leave. But maybe it doesn't work to save it. Like, we have to consider, like, if that's his business, he has to look at what it means to work it and make it work, right? Like, if that's his business, he has to look at it. He bought a building he knew needed work, and a lot of it, because I looked at it too. So he bought a building that he knew needed a lot of work. And he knew it was gonna be a lot of work to do that, to keep that building alive. And I just don't think if that doesn't work, it doesn't work. And owning a restaurant downtown, owning a business that needed work, owning a building that needed work, I had to put all that in myself. So did everybody else downtown. And so has everybody else. And I know businesses in this town, not only have they invested recently in redoing their whole buildings, they invested in city property. They've repaved our sidewalks for us when we didn't. So, I am having a really hard time with it, especially with there being, if you came to me and said that we're gonna be low-income apartments up there, we were gonna give a break to the people working in the restaurant downstairs, but you can't tell me there's a single person in that restaurant that's gonna make $103,000, because that's what 100% of the average median income is in this town. What person in a restaurant makes $103,000? That's a hard time. That's hard for me to consider that. I don't know anybody in a restaurant that makes the kind of money that doesn't work for the Gilmore. So for me, that's really, really hard. And again, as stated before, I do think there's probably many, many, many buildings downtown that have at least part of them that can be considered obsolete. That's the town we live in right now, right? Just some of the infrastructure in town is old. So, I have a hard time with it. And as a restaurant owner, had this come to us again, even as a 5-year, we want to give somebody a break as a restaurant owner to get off their feet, because I know they're going to struggle, because they will. Downtown in Grand Haven is hard no matter how many years you're in business in winter. It does not matter. I would have looked at it through different eyes, having done it and having struggled. But 12 years is too much for me. It's too hard for me. To consider.
Could I? Thank
Absolutely.
you. The difficulty that the state is in right now is, in some cases, some could come and say, could I have a 5-year tax abatement? And they then go to the MEDC to seek grant funding to supplement what that local support would have otherwise covered. Again, this all goes back to making the economics work for a project. And the point on the facade, that was one example. I'm not saying that's driving everything. Obviously, there's demolition, abatement, et cetera. It's an old building, right? It comes with its own quirks. But the state legislature provided $7.7 million in a normal course where it was more like close to $50 million that grants are available. In a normal course, you can seek shorter terms. The unfortunate part is construction costs have escalated and continue to do that. Interest rates have somewhat come down a little bit, but all relative to a few years ago, I guess. But, and the problem is there aren't other tools that a developer can then go tap from the state, right? Where they're not knocking on your door saying, hey, you know, this is what we have, can we try to use it? So you're trying to do more with less, right? And I can appreciate and respect everything that you just addressed. And it's the unfortunate part that we're in to try and do a meaningful project is it's a heavy lift, right? Wherever you go, not just Grand Haven, it's all over the place.
100%. And again, as Sarah said, we will always expect somebody to ask, right? Like don't leave it on the table. You never know what the answer is going to be.
I just wanted to be clear, if you dig into the numbers, and that's what I was trying to attempt to do. It wasn't ignoring the fact of saying, hey, just ask for less, right? Because that's easy. We can do that, but it makes what's already thin worse. So it's trying to support that justification that, again, staring at a news article saying they're asking for $1.1 million. We are seeking a grant from the state. The likelihood of us getting it is probably pretty thin. So that's money out of his pocket that he's going to supplement, which makes the numbers that your Plant Moran report has probably even worse. But he's trying to make it work. It's very thin, and that's why we're here. It's not trying to drive the most profits. He's trying to make it make some financial sense, because as the Plant Moran report shows, without it, you're in the negative, right? It is philanthropic at that point. And yes, he does have to pay to keep his lights on, just like all of us, right? We all have something that we do to put food on the table. So yes, he is a developer. This is not something where it's, you know, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. It's not that situation. It's one that he's just trying to make pencil. If he didn't need the support, he bought the building last year. He'd have been under construction and had people in renting. But without it, he will have to rethink what is ultimately going to go there. But again, he's trying to do something meaningful in the downtown where he wants to see the vibrancy with a signature building. So.
Mike, thoughts?
Yeah, I can agree with a lot of the points that have been brought up. I was probably the one that raised it at the last meeting, that it's great to be able to apply for these incentives, and they're tools that are all given to developers to use. The only tool that's left out is how the city makes up for the funds that we don't get from the tax abatements that he gets. I understand it's over a long period of time. I understand it's a smaller amount. When you look at the numbers, is actually about 65% versus 35% of the rest that goes to the county and other places. So what actually doesn't hit our various departments is a much smaller number. I think the comment I made was it looked like it was somebody who was shooting for the moon, and maybe there was some room for something less. But when I read the numbers, and it shows that, you know, his average leverage cash on cash returns, including incentives, are projected to be 1.2 to 3.8%. It kind of makes you wonder if the business model that he is actually pursuing is something that is actually going to work for him. I mean, at that low of numbers, I mean, you know, a 90-day T-bill you can get 3.6% for. He can make almost more money by doing that than what he's proposing to do with this building. So I would like, you know, to see it at a lesser term, something that's more palatable for, you know, the community to accept. Every building we have downtown, if you really consider and look at them, could be considered an obsolete property. Plant Moran were to go through them all. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of reinvestment into a lot of these older buildings, for the simple reason that I think this gentleman is finding out is the costs are just too high. With construction and everything, rates that we have these days that they're at, it's tough to probably make anything go in there that works. Restaurants especially aren't that great for being known to survive new ones. I also understand what happens if we don't do investment in our downtown. If we don't have, newer buildings, if we don't have something that brings people here to help our other businesses grow and support them as well. So it's like a double-edged sword for me. If I don't do it because of the amount that we're looking at over the years, we miss out on the development, which brings all that. But if we do it, we're, driving up other prices as well. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I mean, I could see supporting something that maybe was for a shorter term, maybe a different business model that he could look at, maybe something that he could do in the interim period to come up with something and still have a meaningful use for what's there. It's kind of where I'm sitting at the moment.
Mike?
Well, our downtown is a very aged town. And you're absolutely right, everybody's already said that. You go to every piece of property down there, it's obsolete. You go in there, you're gonna find asbestos. You're gonna go in there and find different things that are not right. Our community is an aging community. Person moves, either older person passes on and they sell the house. There's asbestos in those houses. There's lead paint. We don't give residents any kind of breaks when it comes to their time to fix their houses up. You have to pay out of our own pocket. I bought my grandparents' house, and what did they wrap the pipes with? Asbestos, because it kept the heat in for them. I had to have that taken care of by myself. I had to pay that expense. I find it very hard that anybody that buys a piece of property, if it was a good example is like Grand Landing, that was highly polluted underground and stuff like that where we had to take care of. There's no money in the state to do that. We helped them out to get that taken care of so they could do it, but it's a piece of property that would never, ever been built on. But when it comes down to a business or anybody or even a homeowner, I'd like to give my homeowners that kind of a break for them, give them a tax break, but we can't do that. It's not in our thing. These are tools that the state gave us to use if we wanted to use them. We don't necessarily have to. I have to agree with everybody else. The time period on it is one thing. It's too long a time period. Restaurant, I'm telling you right now, look out there. How many Wendy's are closing? Look at the business model over the whole United States when it comes to restaurants. Most of them fail. I'll tell you what, it's very difficult. If you ask anybody that owns a restaurant, they're really struggling. They're trying their hardest to make it work. I just don't think the business plan that he has is the right business plan in the time period in that I'm not going to be in support of it. Even though I sat on the EDC board, I thought move it forward just so we get a debate on it. But I don't give my residents any kind of breaks. And I tell you what, you buy a piece of property when you know it has asbestos, you know you have everything else in it, then you're going to come and ask people that you want, give me a hand. I go, nobody gave me a hand at my house. We don't give residents a hand. If it was something totally different, if it may be a little shorter, the length of it is just way too long. I don't even think he's going to be around for 25 years.
Could I ask on that, Mark, what is considered reasonable, I guess, at that piece?
I don't know exactly, but I'm telling you what, 25 years on the one and 12 on the other, that's the maximum that we can give out. And I just don't think we need to go that far. And I think the amount come down a little bit lower too.
The TIF can actually go 30 years, but.
I know, we've done that.
And Grand Landing, I've worked on that project when I was at the
know you did.
MDC. And that had a nice tax credit associated with it, so.
I'm not going to support it. I'm just telling you right now, as it is.
All right,
I'm done.
so I'm also on the EDC BRA board, and we deal with incentives, and we understand perfectly well that the only way these incentives generate any benefit for anyone is if they actually make the investment and increase the value of the property so taxes can go up. So if we turn down incentive requests and no investment is made, all this concern about all the other taxpayers have to pick up the difference, well, it's the same thing you have today. If there's no investment in the property, there is no extra taxes generated, so you really haven't changed the equation at all. All the other taxpayers are paying the same that they would have been, and the existing taxes continue to be collected. So I think the whole notion that by declining the incentives and foregoing the investment made, that it somehow saves other taxpayers money, that doesn't make sense to me, simply because the only way these taxes that we would return are generated is with the new investment. So the whole point of incentives is to encourage investment, encourage buildings to get better, and encourage some of the goals of the city, such as maintaining some of the architectural character, some of the historic context, some of the things that we value in our downtown, and to add vibrancy to a building, and just to make things better. And that's the point of the incentive. That's the point of encouraging investment, because it's almost always going to be cheaper to invest somewhere else, invest somewhere where there isn't an old building to deal with. It's going to be cheaper to do nothing, just let the building continue to be as it is, in which case the taxes will only go up incrementally with inflation, which really doesn't encourage any of the goals of the city in terms of how we want our downtown to look. So this would be the value of the incentives, that they would encourage that investment to happen where otherwise it may be marginal with the incentives. It's definitely not marginal without the incentives. It probably simply won't happen. So I think that's why we entertain incentives. I don't think the incentives are ridiculous to ask for. I think there's a benefit to them. And I don't think that they place an unusual burden on taxpayers, because without the investment, nothing changes. So that's why I'm willing to talk about incentives. I'm willing to think about them. The term of the request is basically a question of how much tax do you think you can generate each year, and how many dollars you're trying to cover with your eligible costs, and you multiply it out, and that's how many years you got. If you say, we'll arbitrarily give you 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, it's less money to be captured, assuming the investment happens, and so it's less of an incentive, and so that probably makes the project less viable. So I guess I'm not about choosing a number and say, well, we'll give you a certain number of years. I don't think that really fits into the logic of any of this. So I'm not opposed to the incentives. Whether or not his business plan makes sense, I guess that's a matter of if he makes the investment and it fails, there's still a building there that we're taxing. So I don't think that's not necessarily our problem. I think we get really wound up about the idea of the inequity of this, and we're doing somebody a favor giving them money, or giving them money that wouldn't be there if they didn't make their investment. So in general, I'm supportive of investment, of incentives. This particular one, the problems I have with this one one is that every time we talk about obsolete property abatements, that's a really blunt tool. That's a tool where we just say, we're going to freeze your taxes, not collect them, do what you need to with the money you saved, and we're not going to concern ourselves with how you use that money. Whereas the TIFs, the brownfield TIFs, the housing TIF, the tax increment financing, there's a list of eligible costs that are being covered. I like that better, because then we know exactly what we're reimbursing for, and then that's spread out over however many years it takes to generate that kind of capture. So I'm usually more inclined to go to approve of a tax increment finance plan as opposed to a outright abatement. And that's the piece that I don't really like about this, the abatement portion of it. I understand it's there to help us capture other taxes besides the city's taxes. Who's paying for this? Well, by and large, incentives are locally funded. We give up potential income in the future to get the investment to happen now, and sooner or later it comes on the tax rolls. With the Oprah, I think that helps us to collect other people's money as well as our own local money. So there's a place for it. I think it was also intended as a way to encourage MEDC to come on board, whether or not they have any funding to do it. So I'm not excited about the Oprah portion of this. I think the TIF portion of it is something that does make sense to me. So if I can kind of leave it at that for the moment, but that's kind of my feelings on the incentives and on this request. It is a very large portion of the cost of the project, and that's unusually large. You would like to respond? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask the council a question. On that note, if we retooled our brownfield plan and removed the Oprah, likely have to, again, this all comes down to economics, right? And adjusted our TIF request where without the Oprah, maybe there's a shorter period of time to bring those dollars back into the project. Is there a willingness to consider that?
I can only speak for myself, but I think that what you've heard from council is that the proposal as it stands isn't very palatable to this group. If there's an interest in retooling that, reconfiguring it, getting a shorter time period, maybe a lower total amount of capture or total amount of benefit, that might be appealing. I can't speak for anyone else sitting here other than myself, but that might be a more viable path for you. Now, that would be, we have a motion on the floor now to consider the Oprah district. It's likely to fail. So I think that since it's on the floor, we'll either postpone it or vote on it. As far as where we go from there, I guess that's kind of, maybe the ball's in your court if you wanted to do something different.
Well, either way, the plan before you, the next discussion item doesn't necessarily matter. I guess I would respectfully request that the item be tabled at this point and allow us to perhaps retool that without the abatement piece and try and achieve a way with a reduced brownfield TIF term, if that's what we're hearing. I guess, if that doesn't change the decision, then I guess it's all for naught, but we're trying to find a path forward.
I understand.
I can tell you as it stands, it doesn't make sense. You've seen the numbers. But if the concern is the term, maybe there's the opportunity to make a revision to the ask to try and achieve a similar goal.
Yeah, and I think what I'm hearing from my colleagues is the term and the proportion of the project that's being incentivized are problems with us. And so those may be things you want to reconsider, whether you want to see this voted down and then come back, or see this postponed so that you can just reconsider the entire thing.
I would rather ask that it be postponed if I could.
That would be the consensus of this group.
I'll make a motion to postpone.
I will second that.
The
Postpone it until when?
Postponement until such time as you can come up with a new plan.
I don't know, does it have to go back to the EDC then?
Very likely, yes. I would think it would. That would be what I would expect.
It could be postponed at the recommendation of the EDC reconsideration, if that's possible. Or sent back down to the EDC for,
Well, until it can be resubmitted through the EDC, through the proper channels.
Gotta go through, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
You fine with that? Dana, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. And Maria, does that pass your parliamentary procedure?
It's not my favorite, but if it's what the council would like to do, then that's
Okay.
what you do.
That's what's important, isn't it? Well, we have a motion up here, motion by Fritz, second by Dora, to postpone further action on this item and very likely the other item on our agenda until this can be resubmitted through proper channels. Is that my understanding?
Mhm.
Let's vote on that postpone, is it? Now let's vote on that postponement.
Unless someone would like to have a conversation about it.
We can do that. Any questions on that postponement? Okay, call the roll.
Fritz,
Yes.
Dora,
Yes.
Callio,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. All right.
Thank
so
you.
We
Do
have,
sincerely appreciate the discussion. on
okay,
this.
we'll have to dispose of the other item on our agenda.
Yep.
But we'll do this, we'll do the same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
So our other piece of unfinished business is the TIF portion of
Have to
this.
vote on the amended. You
gotta
voted
vote on
on
the
the
amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
postponement.
skipped
We
a
need
step,
to
didn't
vote.
I?
We just voted on,
We just voted, well, we voted to postpone.
yes.
So
put
what
it
is
on.
there to
Now we
vote
gotta
on?
vote.
You're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing left to vote
Mr.
on.
Fritz, no,
So I
you're
was
good.
right.
Okay.
I'm right once in a while. Okay. So then, the other item, Marie, I'll kind of defer to you. Do we need to take up the other item on the agenda and then postpone it promptly, or can we just, because we let it die for lack of a second, or lack of a motion, it may not be the proper way to deal with it.
If you want to actually postpone it, then you should motion and second for it.
Move second and then move to
If you
postpone.
actually, yeah, if you want to specify why you're postponing it,
Okay.
we should go through the.
All right, let's
motion
do that. I
second.
need a motion on item B. Would you like to read it so that we know what we're going to postpone?
Consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve and adopt the Brownfield Plan for the Washington 123 LLC redevelopment project located at 123 Washington Avenue, Grand Haven, Michigan, 4947 for a period of 25 years.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Dora, second by Lyon. Okay, we've kind of had our discussion here. Who would like to make a motion to postpone this for the same reason?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Fritz,
I will second it.
second by Dora, to postpone this item under the same terms as the previous item. Any questions on that? Call the roll?
Fritz,
Yes.
Dora,
Yes.
Callio,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Manetza.
Yes. Okay, stay tuned. Thank you, Mr. Belka. All right, it brings us to our first item of new business.
Consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve a lease agreement between the City of Grand Haven and Peace Frogs LLC with a term beginning on March 2, 2026, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the necessary documents. Administration recommends approval.
Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Motion by Fritz, second by Callio. Ashley, you going to explain this one?
Dana will be.
Dana,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Good evening again, that's okay. So before you is a request to extend a lease agreement with Peace Frogs located in the Depot Building. They have been a tenant of the city in that particular space since we moved the tenants from Chinook Pier over to that building. However, in a note that was provided to you by the owner of Peace Frogs, Kristen, she noted that they've been in business far longer in the city of Grand Haven and in Chinook Pier, and is desiring now, after many years, to expand into the space that was formerly occupied by Grand Haven Beach Company. They found a spot on Washington Avenue and vacated that space over the winter, and that has been a challenging space to utilize. So Kristen expressed an interest in expanding her operations into that space, which really would be a win-win, we think, on our part to have her expand into that space. So Peace Frogs would be going from 750 square feet to a total of 1,272 square feet. So that's a pretty good size increase for Peace Frogs to expand into. I did print off and provide to you a note from the owner of Peace Frogs, just expressing her continued desire to be a part of the depot space and the community, and how much she has enjoyed participating in the community and supporting the community. And unfortunately, she could not be here this evening due to a matter that she could not change or deal with. So she normally would be here to answer any questions and certainly to relay her enthusiasm for continuing to be a tenant of the city of Grand Haven. I just want to note that we did take a look at the base rent. We did increase that from their current base rent, and we will be increasing rent by CPI each year, which we've been doing with all of our leases, as you would anticipate, as we've been working to update those and modernize those lease agreements. I did want to also note that the base rent does not include taxes and utilities, which are billed separately to the tenants. And in the case of Peace Frogs, they've also contributed greatly to the outside decor around the area, plantings, decorating the space. So they really take a pride of ownership of their space and really been good partners with the city of Grand Haven.
All right, thanks. Questions, comments?
No, they've been a great tenant down there, to be honest with you. My wife and I end up being in there, spending a long time talking with Kristen a lot, so she does a fantastic job. You're right, she does put flowers out, she does put things out there and decorates the inside. She's a great tenant for us. I'm all in favor of this.
I agree. Happy to see her occupy the additional space.
If she can use it, that's fine.
Anything else?
Do they plan on moving in like tomorrow?
Well, as quickly as possible. I know they've already kind of shuffled some things around, but they haven't started some improvements that they want to make. There's a wall that's in between the two spaces, so they'll be bringing that down and be making some other changes to the interior. That wall was added when Grand Haven Beach Company went in, so it's not a part of the historic structure of the building.
Okay, there's just a few things in this agreement that are missing that should be in a general license agreement. There should be something in I'm assuming we have a current license agreement with them.
Correct.
This should supersede and replace that agreement. It is not written in here that it does that, so we need to make sure it does state that. There's also no termination clause in here whatsoever. As a city, we should want that for us to protect ourselves. This agreement should end January 31st, 2036, not February 1st, 2036. We can leave this, but I have never seen an agreement that continues for 30 days following the expiration of an agreement. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life, but that's fine. It's minor things, but there's no notice clause. It does not say anything in here. I'm like, does she have to give us 6 months notice to say she wants to be there for 5 more years? Is it 30 days notice? Is it 30 minutes notice? Is it 30 days notice? Is it 1 week's notice? There's no notice clause in here whatsoever that tells her or us when she wants to renew this agreement.
We can certainly update that. We've utilized a standard format, but we can make some tweaks to it.
I'm happy to redline it and send it right back over to you.
Okay.
But I would rather not vote on it until our next meeting, unless they really plan on getting in there tomorrow.
I don't know specifically if it's going to be
I
tomorrow.
want nothing
right?
more than them to have this
Yeah.
space, but there are some things in here I'd rather not say yes to.
Is this the same license that they have now? Is it just the same words that they signed previously?
Yes,
And it's the
yes.
same one
There's some
we've been
minor
using.
tweaks because we changed the terms to
This
the
was
license agreement.
Prepared by our attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. We used the same format. We updated the dates, so Ron didn't review the dates, but the terms of the lease, yes.
Is her current lease expiring?
Yes, that's
So-
correct. So this would take place of that.
Not that it
We did
supersedes
it in
this lease,
coordination, right.
It replaces an
It
expiring lease.
replaces an expiring license, that's correct.
So, yeah, as far as superseding the old lease, that's kind of irrelevant because that's not there anymore.
Correct.
But the other terms such as notifications and such,
Yeah, the notification piece in terms of notice to exercise our right to extend, that's not in there. Yep.
In our license agreement.
That would be the only piece that needs to be added that I'm aware of. Sorry.
well, I'm anxious to see this executed. I'm not so anxious that I'd rush into something that's not ready. It's just that we have, it's a typical form we've used. If it needs to be adjusted, then we could postpone, but that would be a vote of council to postpone.
Would you be interested in approving this based upon your recommendations?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to come back?
Absolutely. happy to do that.
Because we could do that too. We can make it contingent upon changes.
Motion and move forward with it, then she gets closure on her part, knowing that there's gonna have
I mean,
these changes involved with it.
I want nothing more for them to have that space, 100%. I just want us to make sure that as we go forward, we are updating our agreements to be more
We
thorough.
can make it
We can make a
contingent
motion.
upon your recommendations.
Well, then why don't you make a motion to amend the agreement to include the notifications and what else?
Termination.
Termination of notifications?
Yep.
And then
Termination notification.
if we make
And
that
there's other
amendment to the motion
minor changes.
as a contingency, then it's not valid until those things are in place.
Correct.
So it's just the notifications to terminate or extend, or are there more changes?
There's minor date changes. Do you update the term?
There was a notification to extend and a termination clause.
Right. Those two things, and then you had a couple of dates you didn't like. And those were?
We just need to make sure that this says January 31st, not February 1st.
Okay, so
And correct term dates?
correct, okay, that's a simple way of doing it. If we do that and vote on it with those contingencies, then we don't have to make them wait 2 weeks.
So I'm sorry, that was motion and seconded by?
Well, we,
You making a motion to do that?
Yes.
okay, motion by Lyons, second by Callio
And thank you,
for,
Aaron.
for the amendment. Is the amendment clear?
No. Yes, that's clear. Can you
I'll let-
explain, can you explain it better?
I'll let Aaron explain it.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's vote on amending this to add that contingency.
Lyon?
Yes.
Callio?
Yes.
Dora?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Vanessa?
Yes. You gotta know when you're gonna have to speak.
Why,
Mike.
Mike?
Don't just take a big slug of water. All right, are we ready to vote on the amended motion then?
Yes.
Please call the roll.
Fritz?
Yes.
Callio?
Yes.
Lyon?
Yes.
Dora?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. All right, very good, thank you. Next item, please.
Item B, consideration by City Council of a resolution to approve an application for a small rural tribal body worn camera program grant in the amount of $35,000 with a 1-to-1 local match. Administration recommends approval.
All right, can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Motion by Fritz, second by Dora. Anybody from Public Safety gonna explain this, or are you gonna do it?
I will be taking this one.
Okay,
Yeah, so our department has been sharing a supply of officer-worn body cameras for the previous 2.5 years. And given our most recent transition to a new supplier, we're seeking an opportunity to submit a grant from which we've previously had success with this program. We presently have about 10 body cameras, and the grant would allow us to double the supply to address both our aging technology as well as logistically and very practically better suit our 36 officers. So there's a 1-to-1 match for this grant. We'd be looking to leverage our already budgeted $35,000, and we're recommending allowing us to move forward with the submission of this grant.
okay, so the motion is to apply for a grant.
Correct.
Okay.
Any grant agreement would be then brought back before you.
Okay. Questions?
Go for it.
Nope.
Please call the roll.
Support the grants.
Fritz?
Yes.
Dora?
Yes.
Lyon?
Yes.
Callio?
Yes.
Manetza?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to report by City Council. Who has things to say?
I don't really have much to say, but I think there's a chance that my email might be having issues. So if you are emailing me and I'm not responding, I am sorry, but there's a chance I'm not getting your emails. So it's elyon@grandhaven.org. There's no S on the end of my name. So I'm going to check into it tomorrow, but I think there's a chance I'm not getting emails. Sorry if I'm not responding to you.
If
Okay.
you get her email directly from our website, it's correct.
It didn't come to me today when I emailed myself.
Oh, fun.
Or
We will
me,
follow up on
just
that.
now. I haven't received, I tested mine also.
Does it just take a while?
Yeah, don't feel bad. I've been on here 22 years, and it seems to be that
Does it just
does
take a
work that
while?
way.
have-
It's not just our website. Sometimes
You
it
did-
happens to be
You did it
with,
today?
Yeah.
Wait until tomorrow morning and get back to us because we do have an email quarantine
Oh, okay.
system.
Check your junk, too.
So it might
It went to
get,
junk.
Yep, that's
So-
where they go.
that's where it goes.
Oh, shoot.
Yep.
We can work with IT to unflag those.
You're not a normal person.
I've had several of them go there.
I know, but
And by the
I have to go
website.
through my junk, and I have to go through everything else on mine. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't, so it's,
Okay, you good?
You good?
okay. I'd rather have be safe than sorry.
Did you find yourself? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thanks.
Good.
Mike, what have you got?
Attended the airport board meeting, which was interesting after the approval for the solar panel array. We'll see where that all goes, but there was at least some positive that came out of it. They're happy to get the trees removed at no cost should that happen. So, also attended the BLP meeting. They had a very interesting presentation on the increasing lack of generation and the effect of that is having upon the grid. Apparently, they're coming to the nationwide conclusion that solar and wind don't make up for the loss of generation that we have. So they're in the process of reevaluating that, and I'm not sure what direction we could be heading on that, but there was a very interesting presentation if you want to check out their meeting as well. That's pretty much all I had.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Good. Anything?
You good? Okay.
Oh, of
Mike,
course.
it's up to you.
Well, it's spring training, and Tigers are out there yet, and our new acquisition today had 3 innings pitched and did very well at it, so looks promising, even though they lost, but it's just spring training, but seeing that. And also, you notice I got some orange on today. Today is Orange Day, March 2nd, which is Inclusion Day, and it promotes inclusion in your daily life. So just want to bring that out to everybody's attention.
Like that.
Okay. Thank you.
I see Erin has orange on too, see, she knows.
And I'm not.
You got blue.
I got blue on. I just wanted to make a quick comment about, in the state legislature, there's a set of bills that are being introduced. Once again, they are proposing to preempt local zoning, local authority for cities to determine how we structure and how we deal with our own business here. These are around housing. The intention is to force local communities to relax regulations in order to promote more housing. Whether we like what they propose or not, it would be a preemption, so it would take effect that whatever we have in our zoning orders would be superseded by these bills. And so the MML has come out in opposition to these. I think Michigan Association of Planning has kind of acquiesced to some of the good that might be in them and willing to not worry about the local preemption piece because that's not their thing. But I think we always need to be paying attention when the state wants to take away local authority and prescribe solutions to us which may or may not fit well in our community. Some of the things that they're proposing and they've been having hearings on are not allowing any local unit to require lot sizes to be larger than 1,500 square feet, which is an incredibly small lot. You can have larger lots, but you can't require them to be larger in zoning. That's like a 39-foot by 39-foot plot of land. They're talking about limited time and opportunities for site plan studies and further review when there's a site plan that's proposed that might be problematic. They're limiting the ability of the local units to review that. They're talking about expansion of protest petitions, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, all of these ideas have some merit, but again, it's a one-size-fits-all from the state. Other things that haven't been submitted as bills yet are things like allowing duplexes by right everywhere that there's single-family homes, requiring no more than 1-car parking required. And this really gets into the details of what local zoning requires in our community. requiring us to allow mobile homes everywhere that there's single-family homes, adjusting, ADUs allowed by right with no strings attached everywhere, 15-foot maximum setbacks, dwelling units may not be required to be more than 500 square feet. There's a lot of really fine detail they're talking about putting into state law to preempt local zoning authority. And I think we ought to be really concerned when the state comes down with rules which are not well tailored to individual communities. I mean, zoning and planning are ways that this city kind of preserves its own character and looks out for the things that we value in our community. Sometimes communities get too stringent. Sometimes communities get carried away with this. I think our zoning is pretty reasonable, but most communities would say that. But when the legislature steps in, just takes that away and provides their solution, I think that that's always problematic for local communities. There's probably some middle ground available where they could give us more options and we could exercise options. But to take options away from us, I've generally thought that was a bad idea. When you talk about why is there a housing problem, and everybody likes to pile on to the idea that it's local regulations, local taxes, it's always because the local unit of government is in the way. And really, it's more about larger economic issues, the price of land, the price of finance, the price of materials, the price of labor. And then the things that local units add to that are relatively minor. They're not nothing, but they're relatively minor. But all these other things, the state doesn't come through and say, well, we'll help with all these costs. No, it's still up to local units to incentivize or to figure out how to do this stuff. But there's a lot larger issues than just local regulations. Local regulations need to make sense, but they shouldn't necessarily be preempted by the state. So I think we need to keep an eye on what the state legislature is trying to do on our behalf. It's not always the best idea. So that's my 2 cents for the night.
I have to agree with you 100%. I think a good idea is, as I said before, propose all of us heading down to Lansing and spending time with our senator. We're going for MML, but that's a short period of time, and he's got to meet everybody else. I really think it's time that we all go together and have a whole list of things and just have one voice, maybe have Ashley do the voice for us, or if you want to add in a little bit, but we get 15 minutes with them usually is what they usually give you. If we can get a little bit more time, it would be nice if we go down and bring these concerns to them and let them know what we're thinking, and that it really does help a lot. And I just think sometime it would be great for us to head down there and do that.
Well, and also if members of the public take an interest in this,
Yep.
I think it'd be nice if they hear from other people besides
absolutely.
locally elected officials that, let the cities run their business. We get elected by the people. If we're not doing what the people like, they can vote us out. And then they can have somebody else sit here and make these decisions. But when it's being done in Lansing, it's a lot harder to deal with. That's my 2 cents for the night. I'll turn it over to Ashley now.
All right, on that note. So I wanted to just put before you this evening a draft document that you've seen. I've had some individual conversations with you, but following our community input survey that we completed at the end of last year, we had convened for a robust dialogue around what we'd like to come to a consensus around for our city council strategic priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. So before you is a take at a draft of that. It really gets at the issues that we felt as a staff that there was a significant consensus around, although we covered a great variety of topics, and that's certainly not to say any of those would be necessarily excluded or not worked on throughout the year, but these are the ones that seem to have the most consensus, really, again, tying around some of the overarching themes that are standard for us, being housing, infrastructure, placemaking, issues with sustainability, joint meetings with our partners, our business community, and things of that nature. So it's a relatively inclusive list, but again, not meant to include everything. There are a lot of different functions and tasks and projects that we would still look to take up as a team. But this is intended as a tool to help us as we communicate to the community, but also as we look to put our line items together for your budget for review in April. So this is a great tool for guidance for staff. So if there is consensus or modifications, we would like to bring this back before you at your next meeting for adoption.
Okay, thank you. Well, if there's things council members would like to see different, let Ashley know what you're thinking. She can circulate that in one of her touch point emails so that we all are aware of it.
Yep.
And I think otherwise you've taken a lot of stuff here and synthesized it down to a few bullet points that are useful tools.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then that brings us to our second call to the audience. So at this point, members of the audience may address council on any item, whether on the agenda or not. Please limit yourselves to 3 minutes speaking time. Give your name and address and tell us what you think.
Got my own timer now, so I can beat you guys before you tell me to shut up. Anyways, Mike Weaver, 637 Lake Avenue. Appreciate all the work you guys put in, and our new council members, and I guess, Mike, you're recycled. But anyways, really appreciate the work you guys are all doing. It was fun to listen to all of you, and you guys are putting the work in, and I appreciate that. I think all the citizens do. Anyways, comments on two things. One is I was, I'll just use shocked that with our snow equipment that we were not maintaining the sidewalks these past 2 years. And I go to Florida for a bit, so I don't pay close attention. But I do know that the sidewalk machine was driving down the road in front of my house every day. I assumed it was going somewhere important. I don't know where it was, but I do know, and I was very unhappy when I saw the kids walking, and this is the middle school, the Lakeshore Middle School, walking down the road on Park Avenue. So as much as they said, the city said, we were taking care of around the schools, you weren't. And that was, the kids were walking, and I was appalled by it. And then I come to find out that, hey, it wasn't even in the budget. Well, you know what? Let's make sure. That's way too important. We're losing kids as it is. We don't need to lose one to a car. So thank you for getting that back on, Bob. It's back on, right?
Yeah.
The snow plowing? Let's make sure we never let that happen again. That's one. Two, I went to the Harbor Island meeting a few months back, and I was expecting more, okay? But when I started asking the questions, one of them I did not like the response on at all, and that was where the coal pits used to be, right behind the berm on the river. There were ponds in there, and I know there is garbage underneath all of it, a good chunk of it. But they told me, one, the plan was a containment system, problem one. Let's spend the money, do it right, get what we can out of there, okay? Let's take our time, do it right. Two was that they filled in those ponds for a cost of about $100,000. Now, I don't know who came up with that or approved it, but it's a huge mistake to burn $100,000. And if there's already a plan that we're going to go containment and we're not going to clean that site, let the public know, because I didn't know that, just like I didn't know about the snow plowing. So let's get more transparent. You can say you're transparent, but that was shocking to me that we wasted $100,000 on, to me personally, I'd like to see the whole thing excavated. Let's get a marina in there, get an outsider to pony up the money. We need more marina space. The costs are going crazy. And it'll also keep that bridge from opening as much. So anyways, that's my thoughts. I only have a few seconds left. You guys have a great evening, and thanks again for all your hard work.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Who else would like to address council?
Jim Hagan, 400 Lake. I'd like to thank the mayor for bringing out that statement that we're trying to do. And I would suggest that we get it on the city Facebook site with contact information so that residents can, send them emails and so forth on the specific issues or bills, whatever they happen to be. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else? If no one else would like to address council, and if there's no further business, then we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.